Hi, my name is Terri Sproul and I want to welcome you to my studio. Today I'm going to show you how to make a flower. A flat flower that you can use on your cards or on any other type of project. And this is made with a stamps, multiple stamps, 4 different stamps to be exact, from Viva Las Vegas Stamps. So you can get those at Stampo.com. Now come on down to my workshop spot. Let me show you how to make this. Well, welcome down here to my workspace. What I'm going to show you today is how to make this really cool flower embellishment here using the new 5-petal flowers, stamp flowers from Viva Las Vegas Stamps at Stampo.com. So the first thing you're going to do, and I did do this all off camera, is I stamped all 4 of the flowers. There are 4 sizes. I stamped all 4 of them onto plain white cardstock and I cut them out. Everybody knows how to cut flowers out, so I didn't feel I needed to show you that on camera. The only suggestion I have on cutting is it's easier to move your paper than it is to move your scissors. So if you practice that, that should give you a really good idea on how to cut any project out. So let's go ahead and make this flower. What's really cool about this flower is it does sit pretty flat, as you see. It has a little bit of dimension, but flat enough that it'll work really good on a card or a project like that. So, first thing we're going to do is grab each flower, and I'm going to actually do some chalking on these because they're white. I can't keep them white. So I have my Memories Dye Olive, and I have a makeup sponge, but you can also use cut and dry if that's what you have at home. And I'm just going to ink up my cut and dry or makeup sponge, and I like to work from the outside in. And the reason I work from the outside in is 2 reasons. One, I want my darkest color on the edge of my embellishment here, this being my flower. And then I want it to get lighter as it comes into the center, as you see there. So I'm going to do that on all 4 of those flowers. Again, working from the outside in. And I do like to work on a Teflon sheet. But that's not necessary, but it is a nice thing to have in your studio if you don't already have one. Okay, keep working my way around there. Perfect. One more. The little guy. Okay, so I got those 4 done. Now, I want to put some more color into it, so I'm going to grab the sky blue that's also a dye ink. And I'm just going to, because I'm very cheap, or thrifty, whatever you want to say, I'm going to use that same makeup sponge, and I'm going to turn it over this time and use the other side. But I don't want any rough edges, because I'm actually going to color the center of this. So here's my little trick. I kind of circle this out a little bit, so there's really no rough edges on it. And then I ink it up again. And then I'm going to kind of go into the center of each of these flowers more in a circular motion more than what I was doing earlier. So again, doing all 4 of these in more of a circular motion and not worrying about it being perfect because I'm going to kind of have that agey look to these flowers anyways. You know, a little bit on purpose. So I'm not making sure I get every single spot of the white colored. So there we go. Now I have to take it one step further because it's still just not agey enough for me. And I'm going to use my chalk ink here. It's a brown, and this one happens to be called gingerbread. But any chalk ink will work. This one I actually pick up the flowers and I go right along the edge. You can kind of hear how I'm like, almost like, I don't know, rubbing up against it. And it's just going to get those edges all nice and dirty for me. All agey and inky and good stuff like that. So another thing I'm showing you here that's really, again, I always say I'm thrifty, is the fact that we are using plain white cardstock and our ink pads that we already have to make these embellishments. So these embellishments, after you've purchased the ink pads and the stamps from Viva Las Vegas, are costing you hardly nothing. I actually personally purchased the whole plate And this plate actually is only $21, and you're going to get all 4 of these stamps, plus all kinds of other stamps that are on that plate. Now don't hold me this part, but I believe there was close to 23 stamps on that plate, if I remember correctly. So think about that, 23 stamps, and you're only getting them for $21 each. So you're getting them for less than $1 a piece. So anyways, back to what we were doing here. Next thing I want to do is put some little bit of dimension on these and some little bit of a shine. So I'm going to use my crystal lacquer. Again, you can get your crystal lacquer right there at Stampo.com at the Viva Las Vegas Stamps website. And I'm going to just put a little bit on to my Teflon sheet. That's another reason why I use a Teflon sheet. And I'm actually just going to take my finger, get it wet, and actually go right along the edges of these flowers. I don't need to get the center because most of the centers you're not going to see except for on the tiniest flower. So don't try to get it really thick, you know, just basically you're getting the petals. So all 4 of them, I want you to get the petals. And I don't want you to put this on really thick. I just want to have a little bit of a gloss to it. I'm not looking for, you know, like massive amounts of gloss here. I'm just looking for a little bit, and you'll see how this really ages it up some in a really cool way. Okay, keep running out here. Throw a little more on there and quit running out. Okay, boom, boom. Okay, now the smallest one I am going to go a little more of this crystal lacquer on the pretty much the whole flower, not just the edges. Okay, so now they're all got crystal lacquer on them, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to start molding them. Because they're still wet right now, you can really go in and mold them. And as you see, I'm just like pinching the flower, pinching the petal. See how I'm doing that? And it's giving it, see how it's giving it really great dimension? See that? Big difference from it being flat. Okay, so I'm going to do that to all 4 of my flowers here. Again, grabbing it and pinching it. Okay. Now, when I do this on my own, I would actually let this crystal lacquer dry a little more because it's still pretty wet. This part actually I still do it while the crystal lacquer is still wet, but putting the flower together I actually would let these pieces completely dry before I put the flower together. So now I'm going to put the flower together, and I'm just going to use a simple brad, and this happens to be a yellow brad, and anything that'll poke through the center, or you can get your, you know, anywhere hole punch out. And I'm just going to go through and put a hole in the center of each of these flowers. Again, it's sticking to my finger, and like I said, I would probably do this part when they are dry. So there we go. All 4 of them have a hole in them. I'm going to start with the smallest flower, put my brad in the center, go to the next one up, and I want to offset the petals a little bit. So I don't want the petals right on top of each other. I want them offset. See how I'm offsetting them? And actually, look how cute that is right there. That's a cute little flower, but we got to make it bigger. Again, offsetting the petals. Next brad. Offsetting the petals. Next brad. See how cool that is? Fold our little ends in the back on the brad. Okay. And there we go. That's my flower pre-made. Again, I'm going to show you this one because that one's all wet. Here it is all dry, and see how it kept the dimension, and because it dries with that crystal lacquer with the dimension on it, it really does hold up. Thanks for stopping by my studio.